So we're gonna be doing the podcast with Ezra today, and first we're just gonna get everything set up, get it sent to my story and shit. So just bear with me for a second. All right, shit. Fuck. All right, there we go. So got that set up. All right, bet. So now let's get Ezra into the fucking call. All right, what time is it? 4:50. Yeah. Yo, what's up?
Good evening.
Oh shit, what's going on with your mic?
My mic?
Yeah, it sounds really robotic.
It does.
Yeah, it does. Like it's all staticky.
Yeah, I thought so. I haven't had any good mics recently. I only have two right now. So
Do you have Discord on your phone?
I do, but the phone mic probably sounds worse.
Try that out.
Alright.
You gotta leave call for it to work.
Well, I already tried it, I think. You said you couldn't hear me before.
Oh yeah, that was whenever. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Here, let's go there. All right, speak.
Yes.
All right, right there works. All right, I guess this is gonna be like kind of like a bad quality call, but there's a lot of people wondering questions. Like I put on my story if like they had any questions they wanted asked. If that's not offensive to you.
That's
Uh,
fine.
all right. So I have about 29 questions.
29 questions. Alright then.
All right. So do you want to like explain like how your day is going so far?
Well, just recently I just finished up a few assignments I had and just got home.
Oh yeah, 'cause you like chill out all day.
Yeah, I just got straight to work and finished all I had left. I did not stop to do anything else other than get into my home clothes, which is my pajamas.
Oh, all right, all right. So are your pajamas black also?
No, I don't wear all black all the time, but I usually do.
All right, all right. All right. So the first question from someone who is anonymous: are your boots comfortable?
Are my boots comfortable?
Yes.
Well, honestly, it depends which socks I wear them with and if I put them on right. So when I'm putting on my boots, I usually tuck my pants in my socks before putting on the boots, so they don't get in the way. But sometimes if I tuck my pants into socks funky or something, I don't straighten them out enough. Like it kind of like feels like I'm getting my legs stabbed or something. So basically, you just want to straighten out before putting on the boots, so then it doesn't hurt at all.
So like, if you were like, I used to wear cowboy boots whenever I was younger.
Right?
So like, if you don't wear socks with them, could you get blisters from it, like on your ankles?
Uh, it would have to be a very funky position. You'd have tucked your pants in when putting them on, and have them like that for like at least 2 days. And I got like a blister only one time, but that I haven't since. So,
Oh, all right. Here, go ahead and join that, and we're gonna finish the podcast in that.
all right then.
All right. So yeah, his mic is kind of bad. I'm not even gonna cap, but oh shit. So we're gonna give him a second to join Dragon, and then hopefully it goes better from there. But it was actually a surprisingly good combo on the boots. He responds with MK a lot. All right, all right, hello.
All right.
All right. So the next question is, how long does it take you to look that good? From
Sorry, your
Jake,
voice
from
cut out.
how long? All right. So a question from Jacob Bruska. How long
Ah,
does it take you to look that good? Meaning, like how long does it take you to get ready in the morning?
oh, right in the
And
morning.
yeah.
Okay, so when I wake up in the morning, half the time it's not that hard. I just do it kind of slowly since I'm just waking up. And the other half the time, I only have like a few minutes left because I overslept, and so I speed run my way ready to the day. So when I wake up in the morning, I usually wake up at 5:45 a.m. every
Damn,
single day.
that's early.
Yes. So I give myself only an hour to get ready because an hour from then, of course, my bus would arrive. So when I get up, I usually get out of bed. I already have all my clothes and stuff prepared or laid out ahead of time, so I don't have to go grab it out of the closet other than my trench coats because I hang them there so they stay straight. So I usually do just grab my pants off my chair I have in my room, on the bed, get those on. And then I would go get my socks on, tuck the pants in the socks, put on the boots, grab my belts I have under my desk, put my belts on. Then I'd go to my closet, grab out, select my trench coat for the day. Then I'd switch a few things around my pockets and arrange them because I already have everything on whichever trench coat I selected to wear for a while. So I don't have to switch them between trench coats all the time because that takes a while. And then I just put everything I need in my pockets. After that, I just basically walk out my door, go to my left to the restroom, and just shape my hair with my hands and then spray it. And then I'm good to go.
Oh, all right. So like, how many trench coats do you exactly have?
How many trench coats do I exactly have? Well, I mean, like, you mean like currently or like in all time?
Well, currently, yeah.
Currently, let me count. And do you mean like specifically trench coats or anything else that could be related to a trench coat?
It's however the definition fits you.
All right. I would say I probably have at least like 5 to 7 trench coats then in that case.
And do trench coats cost a lot? Like the ones that you wear?
Some are very expensive, yes, and others not as much. Some are only as expensive as your average suit.
Oh, all right. So we're gonna move on to the third question, which is, Does it get annoying unbuckling all the buckles on your boots?
Actually, I don't have to unbuckle them, believe it or not. The thing is, um, it seems to have a lot of fastening and straps on it, and you can use that to just basically adjust the size of the boot perfectly to your foot so it doesn't come off. But so it has like good support around your foot, so you trip less. But believe it or not, under my trench coat, behind the boots, there's actually a zipper. There are 4 zippers on all sides of each boot. 3 of the zippers are just accessible. And then there's one long zipper on the back where you can actually just zip the whole boot down and slip it right off and slip it right back on.
So,
So you can get them on pretty quickly, actually.
so it's basically like a big, like it comes down in 4 ways or 3 ways.
Actually, only comes down in one way. The other zippers are just accessible.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yep.
So for the fourth question, how long does it normally take you to put your boots on?
Probably like a minute or like maybe only 15 seconds, as much as a minute to 15 seconds.
Really? I thought it would take at least like, cause I remember like whenever I used to like have like the high top van slip-ons, not the slip-ons, but the high top vans. That shit would take me like at least 5 minutes because of how tight they would be around my foot.
You see, that's why I adjusted them ahead of time. So I just leave them like that.
So like, are they like loose or do they like slip whenever you're walking?
Uh, like the bottom half of the boots are like kind of flat footed. So like you have to take square footsteps when walking. Because if you're like on, let's say you're like on a very grassy, wavy ground, that's a bit trickier to walk on than like concrete or like at the mall because it's not exactly flat ground. So it kind of like trips you up sometimes. So you have to catch yourself and be ready just in case.
So they are kind of hard to walk in.
Yeah, sometimes. And that's why I practice walking them all the time, anyways.
Well, I thought that you would at least be used to it by now since like,
And I am, but I'm also trying to get better at running in them because I have already ran in them like 3 times so far. And I just last recently ran in them when I was playing a football game at my church service, believe it or
a
not.
football game?
Yeah, I was playing football in those
Like
when I was at
soccer
church,
football or American football?
like American football. Yeah,
Oh, I was gonna say, like, if you're playing soccer football, like, I feel like that's a very unfair advantage because, like, you have all that boot in one
I know,
kick.
I know.
All
But no,
right,
no, I'm playing like American football.
all right, all right. So another question from Jacob: Where do you get your drip from? Like,
Where
where?
do I get my drip from?
Yeah, such as your trench
Honestly,
coats, pants, shirts, boots.
to start off, I just simply come up with one style after another. And then from that, I literally search from a series of places. But the vast majority of the things I get have simply come from Amazon because that's where you can find many things at.
I thought like Hot Topic sold like the big. I don't ever go into Hot Topic, but
If you want to find as clothes as like as crazy as mine, you might want to sometimes just look online because that's where it's usually at. If you can't find it at your stores nearby, you'd probably have to end up getting it custom made. That's even more expensive than if it was sold online somewhere already made.
oh, and another question for like the people who don't go to our school, would you mind sending them a like send me a picture directly from yours and then I'll post it in here so then they know like what kind of outfit we're talking about.
Oh, well, I mean, my most recent pictures were my winter pictures. Somebody wanted apparently to
Oh,
see how snowy it was outside, so I could send you a picture of me in my uh, first model Tyrant coat.
yeah, that works.
All right, let me pull up a picture on my phone real quick and send it. Want me to put in general? You said.
Yeah, I think I gave you permissions. Oh, yeah, you
Okay.
should have here. Let me here. Go to roles.
Let me do it real quick.
Where are roles at? Oh yeah. Oh shit, I just had them. There we go.
Just a moment.
All right.
Okay. I found the pictures.
All right.
How many should I send?
That is up to you, my man.
All right. Well, I guess I'll give you a good full body view of the me just standing idly.
But keep it PG. You know.
Oh yes, absolutely. I usually do that.
You know. I'm not gonna go into question of why you said usually, but
There you go.
oh, nice. Yes. So this is like the basic idea of what we were talking about.
Yes. This is actually the same coat I'm wearing right now, but I'm wearing it in an alternate style. So I'm wearing it basically differently than it's being worn in this picture, but it's the same coat.
You know, it actually almost looks like tech wear. You know, like you know what I'm talking about? What tech wear is?
Techwear I haven't heard in a while, so I don't think I remember.
All right, here I'll get a picture for you. All right, so oh, I think I'm spelling it right. There we go. All right. Oh, well, wrong picture. Oh, there we go.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. So do you basically see the similarities to the two, like yours and?
Yes, I've seen this style before. Or a style similar to this. My sister's shown me a couple of these.
Yeah. So it's like kind of almost what you have on.
Mine was just simply put together with a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, I feel like yeah, yours is more like simplicated down because it's like that, but then this is like it has a lot going on to it.
Yes, I guess it does.
All right, so let's move into the next question. All right. So this is one of my questions because how we were talking about earlier ago how you met God, but you don't believe in God. So what, but you also were talking about earlier ago how you do go to church. So what is your religion and what is it based on?
My religion is Christianity, but I also have, based on my personal experience, know things more than I believe things.
So
So when I say that, I mean, I don't believe in it, but I know it's very likely that it exists.
yeah, I mean I believe in a creator because it doesn't simply make sense how one thing, like how there's so much DNA and like shit that we're learning in biology, even though I don't
Well,
pay.
there are some questions that can never be answered until you're dead, probably. But other than that, there's only so much you can understand.
So, but whatever you say that you met God, you said that in class earlier ago. Do you mean as you met God in like eco death, or you have died before?
Both.
Both. That is very confusing.
Well, let's say, for example, one day I die, but then the next day I'm back alive. And it's the same year I was born, back in 2000, between 2004 and 2002. But I'm reliving the same life again, but in a different family as a different person.
So, like basically reincarnation.
Not exactly.
Hmm.
If it was reincarnation, you would be continuing on with life, but as a different creature. In this case, I'm repeating the same amount of years in a different life.
So, do you know how many exact years from your perspective that you were gonna live?
No, I have no idea. But I've had this feeling for a long time. I can't guarantee anything I tell you, of course, but I just simply know it. That's all I can say. You don't have to believe anything I say, but I'm just letting you know now.
Oh no, it's a pod. This is basically your podcast. I'm basically just making this video so that everyone knows more about you, because you're kind of like, at least to me, you're like a mysterious man.
Whatever works.
All right, but so you remember like how in middle school you were like all suit and tie and stuff, like a classy guy. What happened between then and now?
Then and now, well, I actually began starting off. I wanted to start off by just wearing more formal clothes and simply see what they felt like because I never tried them before and I thought they looked very nice. And so I started with suits, of course, the one most common, nice looking set of clothes I could think of off the top of my head. So that was back when my hair was like incredibly long as well. But back then, when I first started wearing suits, I wanted to get like a kind of mafia style intentionally that time. And of course, I was into memes back in the years all the time, the classic MLG memes and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, I want to base the style kind of off of that. And so what I did was I took a suit, a fedora, and I bought a perfect replica of the MLG glasses, and I would wear them all the time.
It's like the glasses that you wear now.
Not now.
Oh, all right.
The other ones, it's like the ones that are like 8-bit or pixelated. That's what they look like.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, those ones. But unfortunately, those are not around anymore because I let my uncle try them on when I was ice skating, and they have not been seen since.
Oh, so he stole them.
No, they're just broken.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next. Oh well, basically. Oh no, this hasn't answered this complete question. So for the style now, why
Right.
did you choose this style?
Well, my styles have evolved over time, and I went from thinking of something that wanted to be basically MLG in the flesh to now being something such as simply strategical wearing.
So more
And this
like,
is the same thing I tell everybody. Everything I wear has a purpose. I don't wear things just to look good, but also because they have some special use or advantage. I wear it for that very reason.
so what special use or advantage does it have over wearing what other people wear, such as like shorts, maybe a hoodie, and jeans?
Well, of course, since I'm freezing to death all the time, I do wear heavy clothes in the first place. But another reason is also because I get more pocket storage because I have inside pockets all the time. I can fasten my pockets closed, so if I was wearing sweatpants that have no zippers added to them, which I buy them if I do get sweatpants, then your phone usually falls out all the time. And I see people all the time in school that have that problem. I've seen at least 2 every day, if not 1 guaranteed. But in this case, that's not a problem.
All right, I'm gonna go on mute for like 10 seconds, and because I have to answer a question in chat.
Right.
All right. Look, I mean, I'm not gonna say that his style isn't normal, because that's kind of offensive. I mean, like I get what you're saying, but like, I mean, you can rewind stream, and then see what he has to say if that answers your question. Like why does he choose this style? He said that it has like a he says he has more advantages and more pockets, and I also have questions for that too as we go down the road. But just keep listening. All right, I'm back.
All right.
All right, so going down to question 8. All right. All right, I gotta figure out. Oh yeah. So this isn't a question about you. This is just basically your mindset question.
All right.
Do you have an input on how to clean the garbage out of the ocean, more Pacific to the Pacific Ocean?
Well, I mean, that's a very interesting question, I would say, because nobody's ever asked me that in quite a while. But since the last time I thought about it, I think it would be probably a bit more complicated than I guessed it was in the first place. Because we have many machines that are able to clean up the sea now, and they've cleaned up many trash to begin with so far, but there's still millions and millions, if not billions, of more in the ocean buried deep below. And so I was thinking, knowing how expensive it is just to fund or make mechanisms such as this, there will eventually come a turning point in which the seas, if all the machines we have don't clean out the seas as quickly as the seas get trashed up with more junk, then eventually we're going to have to solely focus on cleaning out the sea. by then, I would like to assume that we would have a better amount of funds to make better machines to clean out the ocean. But exactly what we'd use to do it, I'm not so sure yet.
So, don't you think that, like with the machines, like as I put that into my input, I feel like that's like double handing it. Because, we're still cleaning out the sea, but then you think about the ozone layer. Like, what do you think we have to use to power the machines? We have to use gas.
Yeah.
So, don't you think that's like double handing it at all?
Yeah, I guess it does. But you're going to have one thing after another thing for everything.
True. I mean, we could also just, get rid of China. I mean, that would pretty much solve the entire problem.
Yes, but then China would have a conflict with the rest of the population.
True. I mean, it's kind of like a whole world thing that's going on.
Right.
All right, but we got a question from Ryan Bond. He wants to know, ask him how, ask him, does he think he looks like a school, do you think you look like a school threat?
A school threat? Yeah, well, I've honestly heard people say that before. They're like, it's first in the morning, I'm going up to the bus stop, and somebody sees me on a foggy day in the middle of the night, and they're just standing under a spotlight while I'm walking up to them from the dark. And they tell me, if I didn't know that was you, I would have thought I was going to die today. And so I'm not surprised. But at the same time, even though I look like a school threat, apparently I'm not. I can say that now. But I will also say that I choose my styles for many other reasons than just looking intimidating. That is the last thing I want to do.
how do you consider yourself more of like a peacemaker or more of, like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you consider yourself?
I would consider myself a truth seeker.
A truth? So you try to find the truth?
I try to find ultimate resolve. I don't go full pacifist, but I do sacrifice what is only necessary. I try to think what would be the best outcome in a situation and go with what I'm sure would work best.
So, all right, and all right, so Ryan has more questions. He wants to
All right.
know, do you change for gym?
Do I change for gym? Well, the last time I was in gym, I already completed all my credits for gym back in last year when I first got in high school. So in that case, I don't have to anymore. But when I was in gym, I did dress out for gym because the other than on I think half days or days you didn't dress out like at the beginning and the end of the year, I didn't. I play in the gym with those. But
All
when
right.
I dressed out, other than that, I would usually just wear some sweatpants, and it's the same things I actually wear when I go to the gym every day to work out. I would wear some sweatpants, some good running shoes, sweatpants with the zippers especially. So if I'm carrying stuff in my pockets, they never fall out. Uh, a nice warm baggy hoodie because I freeze to death, and then an undershirt.
So is that like a medical condition, like why you get so cold?
Yeah, I feel like it is, but
Because I mean, like if you're in the gym, you already know that shit's like hot.
yeah, we never really bothered looking into it, like actually going to the doctors about it. But it's never actually been much of a problem other than being at one specific cold temperature all the time. So when people come in my room, in my office at home, they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's blazing in here. It feels like I just walked into the desert." I'm like, "This is just normal temperature. I don't know what you're talking about." Because I have my heater on in my room, my space heater, and it's turned to max all the time. And so once I do that, I feel like I'm at a normal temperature. But other than that, all I know is that it makes me a lot colder than most people would.
All right, and for his last question from Ryan, why the 20-inch boots?
The 20-inch boots. Well, I'll tell you now, the current pair I've been wearing a lot recently is actually only 5 inches. My basic height is 5'8", roughly, and I bought the 5 inches because my main pair that I used to wear long ago didn't fit me anymore, and I was going to get it again. But since they were out of stock right now, they won't be back in stock until this May. And so I'm waiting until then. But right now, until they do, I am wearing my substitute pair, which I bought, which are these 5 inchers. I bought them, tried to buy them as quickly as possible before winter because I was planning to wear those to stay above the snow so I don't get snow in my shoes all the time.
I feel like yeah, that's actually a pretty good advantage.
And that's why I get them.
You kind of go into like deep thought about everything.
I try to.
All right, so I guess that also knocks out it. Question 11. All
All
right,
right.
so on to question 12. All right, yep. So we've basically answered this. All right, so another question about the secret compartments in your jacket. What do you keep in the compartments exactly?
I'm glad you asked. Actually, I just bring anything I would need for any point in the day. So usually in my coat, I bring. Well, let's start with my pockets. My pockets, I usually have a glasses case in my pocket, and in my other pocket, my phone or my wallet, usually.
So you don't even carry around like a bouncy ball or like a fidget spinner.
I could, but I haven't had to use them recently, and they haven't been the norm for the past couple years. But I keep them stocked in my room in my collections. So, in case I ever had to use them again, I have them right there.
So what exactly could you fit in there? Like from AK-47 size to 9mm size?
An entire AK-47? No, I don't think I could fit that in my coat. Unless it was like modified to hold one in it, which I probably wouldn't need in the first place. But if I were to say, if you were asking guns specifically, if you're that curious what I could fit in there, I could probably fit an entire SMG or Uzi.
Oh, all right, all right. So Ryan wants to know another question. What is your sexuality, if you want to share?
My sexuality,
Hmm.
elaborate.
What do you find attractive? Do you find
Oh,
men, women?
what do I find attractive? I usually only find women attractive if I were to find anything attractive, but I rarely ever do.
So you're more like asexual. You kind of, you don't exactly look for another companion.
I don't really go searching for one, no. If somebody wants to meet me, they can come to me. Otherwise, I don't really bother.
All right. Uh, Another question. Are there compartments in your boot? Like secret compartments?
In my boots, no. I haven't modified my shoes that bad. I've only had shoes that are able to make me jump higher, shoes that make me taller to stay above snow, as I said before,
So the
and
sh
other shoes that simply make me move across the ground without walking at all.
so the shoes that you're talking about that make you jump higher, are they moon shoes?
They're actually they're like my first pair of modified shoes I wore a while ago, but they're a lot more springy, of course. And I think they were called high tops. It's been a while since I worn them, though.
Oh, all right. Because you
Yeah,
remember, you know what moon shoes are, right? Like they're kind of like the brick. If I can get a picture of them, here they are.
let me see.
All right. Save image as. Something that was more popular, say in like the two, like around the 2000 range. 2010.
Yeah. See, they work springy, but they look like a normal shoe. You wouldn't be able to tell. They wouldn't look anything like this.
So they actually make shoes like you can't tell that have
They just
springs.
look like your normal shoe, but they still make you spring a bit higher than you can normally jump on average. Yes.
Dang, they need to get these for the basketball team.
I guess they should.
All right. All right. Somebody wants to know, where did you get the mask from?
The mask, yes, the mask. I've been working on it for a while now. I actually made it.
Here,
I
elaborate how you
recently
made.
my father.
Elaborate how you made your mask.
So basically, when I started off, when the virus first started, my father suggested we should actually uh, find out what mask we want. And we thought, based on everything we have, we could just honestly just build custom masks that would be sick. And so we decided we would probably make them. And so what we did was, for my mask, basically we start off building the base of each of our masks with a 3D printer because we have a 3D printer at our home. And so we took a 3D printer and then we took a 3D model of the mask already pre-built and all the pieces it would need. Then we basically take the G code, which it turns the 3D model into, and put them into the printer. Then over a couple hours, it would basically take the plastic we put in the printer and then print it out.
So, and you said at school this took you about 3 tries?
Yeah, it took me a couple tries because I had to print a couple different models because I had to find the right one that fit my face. So when people ask me, they want me to make them a mask, or they say they pay me or something, I have to really think about if I want to do this again because I'd have to probably like come up to them and like make a bunch of different pairs and try. I have to like measure their face size. I have to get the right size of their face. I have to adjust the straps to their face and what else, whatnot.
So it wouldn't be a cheap process.
It wouldn't be a quick one, that's for sure.
So how long would you say?
Well, printing something such as that usually takes as little as 2 to as much as like 5 to 7 hours.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a very slow process if you want it to print in with very good quality. If you have it print too quickly, it's just gonna come out as some like stringy, like rough, like clump. I don't even know what it is. Honestly, I don't even know what it is. So that's why it takes a lot of time. But that's just the printing half. And then after that, you'd probably wanna for if I were like specifically talking about my mask, you'd probably want to get straps for it. You have to go get straps the right size. You have to cut them. You have to adjust them to the mask, and then you have to take the tips of the straps afterwards, and you take a candle and burn the uh, cloth on together so it seals around the mask.
All right.
So basically, it doesn't like string apart or come off as easily either.
All right. So, kind of a more like odd question someone else had. How many
Yes.
bodies do you got? Not like
Um,
in death format.
bodies, as in
How many people have you killed?
how many people have I killed? Well, within this lifetime, I don't think I've actually had to kill any, unfortunately.
But how about your past lifetimes?
My past lifetimes, well, that's what's a rather difficult question. It's hard to tell if I was able to live and pass on to another life if I killed anybody. No doubt about it, I've already had to deal with people and hurt people, but I've never killed people. I usually wouldn't go as far as killing people. I would simply defend myself or last as long as possible. Outlast them until they're fatigued. Usually, that's what I would usually do most of the time, and what I've done before.
So
Whenever,
you would go until they're out of breath and then finish the fight.
yes, and then I would simply walk away unless they try to come back again. And if they do, then they'll just have to keep dealing with me.
So would you say that you have a high stamina?
I mean, why do you think I'm lazy all the time?
Ah, but what if they catch you whenever your body's about to give out? You know, how you say like you keep yourself up, you barely sleep until your body gives out. What if they catch you right as your body's about to give out and you're the one without the energy?
Honestly, if I know I'm out of energy and I can't raise an arm, I wait to take a blow. And if I'm gonna get hit, then I make sure to get hit in the right spot. And after that, I use that adrenaline rush after getting hit to give me a bit more energy to continue.
So it's kind of like a boost.
Yes, I use their blows to my advantage.
Ah, you know, you're very critique and very smart about how your mindset is.
I would hope so.
All right, so question 17. What products do you use for your hair?
What products? There's a product I've been using all the time recently for the past few years now, just because it works fine enough. Now, I used to use gels at first, but I wasn't a fan of those because when I want to put hats on and switch between hats and hair all the time, it get gel in the hats, and that's annoying because I have to wash it out every time. And I want to go dealing with that all the time. So what I would do is I would just go with hairsprays, and so I basically simply shape my hair how I like it, and then spray all around because that just a lot quicker. I don't have to like spread the gel through my hair. I can just spray it really quick, and that's that. But of course, with hairspray, it makes your hair harder and solidified. I don't want to have helmet head all the time either, because that gets annoying. So what I would do is I found this new hairspray recently, and actually let me check the name of it. I'll tell you right now. Let me get it.
Alright, well, I guess while he is gone, if anybody in chat has any more questions, go ahead and type in chat. But there has been a few creepy era questions that have been answered, and I don't know if I should be settled with the answer, if I should go into more depth about it.
All right. It's actually the Aquage finishing spray.
So, how many sprays per bottle do you say you get?
Per bottle, honestly, I think it would last a whole 2 to 3 weeks if you spray it sparingly enough. But sometimes I have a habit of overspraying things, even though I don't need to. And so it could at least guaranteed last as much as 1 week to even a whole month on average. At most, it could probably last a whole like 4 months.
Alright, so we're gonna get into the next question. Why do you wear those glasses? You know, the ones at school that you're always wearing?
The
And
glasses are actually supposed to go with my alternative style right now. And as for the hat I was wearing before all the time, that was for the main style. For the main style, I don't wear glasses, but I wear a hat in place of the glasses. And when I'm not wearing a hat, for the alternative style, I wear glasses in place of the hat.
okay,
Also, because I usually have a hat or glasses on all the time, and it's because my eyes are very sensitive to light, and I like to wear something over my face so it's not as intense on my eyes.
alright. So from a question from Hobo Joko 2121, he or she has a question. Are you a virgin?
Am I a virgin? Within this lifetime, I would safely assume I am a virgin.
Hmm. Alright. So question 19. Why eggs?
Why
Like,
eggs?
if anybody asked you, have you done drugs or anything, why eggs?
Why eggs? Well, believe it or not, the first thing I ever considered a drug in my life was eggs. Aside from the time when I was a little kid and ended up shoving an entire napkin and balled up and swallowed it and was convinced it was cotton candy, uh, I would consider eggs the first thing I ever thought of as a drug. Now, the reason for this is because when I eat eggs, they're the only thing that stimulates my mind differently than any other food I would usually eat. Specifically in my mind. I'm not this doesn't pertain to anybody else. I don't think it would have the same effects on people. But when I eat eggs, I think differently. I know this.
So you would say, do you eat them raw? Like, you crack it
I
and
can
eat it?
eat them in all kinds of ways. I can eat them hard boiled, I can eat them raw, I can eat them in the form of an omelet, I can eat them sunny side up. But I usually have them sunny side up if I make them myself or have somebody make them for me because sunny side up is how I usually like to prefer to have them.
So whenever you eat egg raw, are you not scared for the salmonella?
Uh, I usually would cook it, but when I do have it raw, I do have it because when I crack it open, I have it raw cracked open in a drink form, and it's usually very healthy, but it's also very, very rough on your taste buds. So whenever
So
you do, you
if
might
it's
want to do it.
so if it's rough on your taste buds, why do you drink it like that?
Well, of course, in the end, most food I eat, I don't really care unless it's like I'm unable to breathe after I start eating it. So let's say, for example, somebody, I'm not going to say who, one time made me a spinach, a canned spinach recipe. They gave it to me, and it was black as if it were fried. But at the same time, that spinach was also very moist, as if it got covered in water afterwards. And it had dried cheese over the top of the spinach. Now, let's say years ago, back when I was a kid and had that spinach, I was convinced this is how I die.
So
But
you're convinced by eating that piece of spinach you were gonna die?
yes, I felt like this was the worst thing I've ever ate in my life at that point. But up until now, years later, I eat that spinach again one more time, and I just eat it down like no problem. I don't even care if it tastes bad or not. I just eat it.
So have you ever tried a burnt piece of popcorn?
A burnt piece of popcorn? Yes, I actually a few times I have purposefully burnt my popcorn because it tastes better.
So you believe burnt popcorn tastes better?
Not always. It depends on what I just ate before eating it. Because my taste buds are also jacked up. I don't know what happened to them. But let's say, for example, I had coffee and then had popcorn right after I had coffee. My popcorn doesn't taste salty anymore. It tastes like I'm eating hardened vanilla ice cream.
So would you say that that has any for real effect on you about how you eat it?
Not always, not always.
All right.
But I don't complain for most foods I eat, but I still am very specific or give a lot of detail on what they could improve on for some food if they ever ask me.
All right. So another question: are you a part of any kind of cult?
Any kind of cult? Nope. I am not a part of any kind of cult. I am
What?
only a part of religion.
So whenever you said like how you have multiple friends that also wear trench coats, and do you hang out with them, and is it like you guys sit downstairs in a circle and like
Well,
talk?
my non genetically related brother, which you see at school all the time, Brevin, he has a habit of representing my trademark all the time by following my styles and my footsteps, and for each and every advantage they give. He's only one example of a couple of people you see like that. There are a couple other people I know, but uh, we aren't very close friends. We only see them when we travel around the world.
So I feel like the whole school would announce you and Brevin and the people around the like around the world, as you foresay, as like a trench coat mafia.
Well, trench coat is not always my main style, but it's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, but
Whenever
most,
I wear any kind of style, I usually prefer long coats.
would be, you should definitely come to school in sweatpants tomorrow. I think it'd give everyone like a shock.
I was actually thinking, believe it or not, for example, of a style like that. And I was going to maybe try wearing it at school for a couple days in the next few months.
I feel like you would get a lot of questions about what happened to the trench coat, the high
Now,
boots.
the style would be pretty different, even though it's still a casual based style.
Yeah, because I feel like you've already like set your um what's the word for it? You kind of already set your style, how everyone expects to see Ezra, and how everyone expects to know you as. So I feel like if you came in that, people would say like, that's different.
Yeah, well, over the years, my styles have similarities and others have changed differently and completely. So sometimes, if I were to switch between one different style every day, sometimes people would not recognize me at all. They would be convinced they're talking to a completely different person.
Hmm. So I feel as if it would almost be I don't even know the word for it, my man. But let's move into the next question. What would be
All
your
right.
favorite vacation spot, or what is your favorite vacation spot?
Well, I'm just going to put it out there right now. The place I'm planning to go to is the place I plan to stay. And if I were to take a vacation there and wasn't going to stay there, I'd probably take a vacation there anyways. I couldn't think of any other better place specifically right now, but I would be going to Japan, Tokyo, Japan.
I am completely on board with that opinion. Japan is definitely a nice spot.
Yes, I'm going to be collaborating with my staff team. We're all going to be meeting up there at some point in a couple more years from now.
So, do you have your own Discord server?
Yes, I have multiple.
Multiple. Is it
Yes.
is it like shady stuff, or is it like, just a normal Discord server? Share memes, make fun of people, stuff like that.
Well, both could be either, and some are a mixture, actually.
So, what do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is some groups are casual. Let me go to some of my groups right now, actually, to pull some examples out. Yeah, every group of mine is considered mine, but it's always owned by a different person, but they're still basically my server. Whenever I have a server of my own, anyways, it's very rare that I actually end up making a server myself. But if I have a server, it is basically held by somebody else, but I own it. Now, we have 3 servers here, and one of the main servers is basically the mixture I was talking about. Some have simple general chats, meme chats, uh, and then others have voice chats and whatnot, and bot commands, bot section, question of the day, and polls for voting for things. But then there are other sections in the group where you can actually ask for being preached or go to a church service, basically online church service. And you could even ask for therapy if you think you need help. You can ask for bedtime stories if you want to go to sleep.
Like,
They have movie streaming channels as well, and many other things.
oh, all right, so it's more of like a home away from home kind of chat.
Yes, it's many things, but it can be many things more as well.
All right,
Mhm.
so we're kind of are getting out of the more personal questions and more of into like mindset questions. So for the first one, what's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal, well, honestly, I've had a couple, and I'll just list all the ones I've considered getting. A Shiba Inu dog, a cat, um, a turkey, and then I think there was one other thing, but I can't remember off the top of my. Those are a couple of my favorite animals if I were to ever get any.
All right, so what's your favorite horror movie? Because you look like
My,
the kind of person, or like a
my
recommendation that you'd give to everyone watching.
Now, I do like horror games and movies, and I watch scary videos all the time. I have a habit of doing it. But if I were to recommend one that was the first one when I was still susceptible to fear, that really gave me a shiver down my spine, it would be the classic The Thing.
The Thing?
Yes, it's called The Thing.
Here, let me look that up real quick.
There are 2 versions of it, the 2011 or 2014 version and the original 1998 or something, but I can't remember the exact dates. It's been a while. I'm probably wrong.
All right, so there's a 1982 version and a 2018.
Yeah, the 1982 version was this one I saw. I didn't dare to watch the 2018 version yet, and I probably am saving it for later.
Oh, it's only on Prime Video.
I'm probably gonna go watch it when I am at my own home alone by then.
Yeah, but the one in 2018 is only 11 minutes long.
Really? I'm not so sure about that. I remember there was something that was a longer version of it, but I'd have to check again. But yeah, all I've watched of it is the original one. The original one is probably the one I remember best for the one that was actually able to make me a bit scared for once. So if you want to watch that, that's the one I would recommend for a horror movie if you haven't seen it already.
No, I don't think I have. But
Or if you want,
I think I will check it out though.
all right.
All right, so let's move into the next question. Do you think school's important?
Yes, I actually do think school is very important, but once you get farther into school and the more you learn, the more you feel like you're finished and you've learned enough. There are a few things you can still find that are very useful and that you're probably going to want to know, but at that rate, not everything feels as important as it would when you're first starting off.
So, would you consider yourself a part of the reality like here, or would you consider yourself a part of reality online? You set yourself with friends online, like how they are inside of your what's it called? Your chat.
Well, I would consider myself a bit of both, actually, but most of the friends I talk with are online, and I get close to some of my friends online. But at some point, eventually, I end up meeting most people in person one point in time or another. So that's why I would say both. And there are many other friends I already had before I was even online that I would talk with all the time in real life. So that's another reason why.
So, is it like a thing? Where do you find more comfort in? Do you find more comfort in being online or being in reality?
Well, it depends what the scenario is, actually. But most of the time, online is fine. But in person, there's not much to talk about in person.
All right. So, what would you consider one of the scariest features of you?
The scariest features of me, it's probably back when the old incident of mine happened, probably a couple of years ago, actually.
Do you mind sharing the incident?
Yeah, it was actually the fact that it went from probably, let's say, third grade to and ended around sixth grade. And for at least about 3 years or so, I had a condition that basically felt like I was losing my mind. I was driven absolutely mad. And for those past 3 years, everybody might as well have been talking to a completely different person.
So, would you consider it
I wasn't myself. And my intentions were far different from what they are now.
so would it be multiple personality type thing?
A dissociative identity disorder.
Yes, that. Uh, so was it scary for you?
Well, back then, absolutely. But by the time my emotions were suppressed, that's when it stopped.
So do you still have this, like, does it still happen? Like, whenever a new personality comes, or like a new person in your own head?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like people are talking to me, but then I look around and nobody's there. And I'm glad to know I'm taking a break and I'm not being constantly talked to, but that's when I realize the fact that I'm not exactly alone still.
So would you consider it, the dissociative personality trait things and a little bit of schizophrenia?
Schizophrenia, not
Like,
so.
because I'm pretty sure that the kid in front of me, in history has schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia, not so much. Somewhat, I think, but that was probably caused by my madness. years ago. I don't see things often much anymore, but if I do, I'm not surprised.
So, by your by the things that you see, is it like dark things, or is it, something that could be majestical like a fairy?
It could be anything. And at this rate, if I see anything, I expect anything. If I see something completely out of the natural, I'm not going to freak out and be surprised and then faint because I can't comprehend what I'm seeing. I'm just going to try to understand that that might actually be there or not.
That sounds actually really terrifying. Like, because I mean, like, one minute it could be you see absolutely nothing, and the next moment it could be like a complete,
Yeah,
almost
well, that's
demon-looking thing.
that's what I haven't dealt with in a while but when I did deal with it, I remembered how to solve that as a problem, and that's sound actually. So let's say it usually happens late at night, of course, when everybody's silent, everybody's asleep. If I'm gonna go downstairs to get a snack, fear the dark or what's in the dark or anything about the dark, usually it's not a problem. But when it's quiet and there's hardly any sound, or like I don't have my radio on or anything, that's when things start getting to me. That's when my paranoia starts to increase. That's when I feel like something's off, something's out of place. So if I were basically isolated in a very quiet place long enough with enough stuff in it, I would probably start creating my own terrors with my own mind, and I would probably start driving myself mad again, which hasn't happened because I'm sure to remain consistent with sound.
So, is that one of the reasons that you listen to more classical music, more like Beethoven and stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that?
usually listen to classics all the time on my radio, orchestral station, or anything at all, honestly, if I can. I had a sound machine I got just recently, like a year ago or so, but it broke down, unfortunately. I usually would have listened to Fire in the Woods and sleep to that, but uh, that broke, so I had to go back to the radio. And the orchestral station was removed a couple times, so I just had to go with ramp music. And honestly, I could listen to anything. I could sleep to anything. If it was a tornado, I'd sleep to that because it's still sound. So
So,
I,
have you ever experienced like sleep insomnia? You're sleeping, soundly, you're sleeping good, and then you
right.
wake up, and then, you see one of your visions, and it's like holding you down, and you can't move.
That's only happened to me once when I was a kid. And what happened was I was dreaming and I was in a very long, infinite, foggy forest. And there was a roller coaster or a theme park far away in it. In the other half of the forest, there were little openings in the trees that had light coming out from them and smoke coming out from them. And so I ended up peeking in one of them. And what I saw, well, I'm probably just not going to say what it is, but after that, I woke up. And I woke up exactly as I was twirling in circles, falling out of my bed midair. And at that exact same time, what I saw at the window was the sun rotating and cycling between 3 days before I reached the ground. So 3 days passed as I was spinning and falling towards the ground. And then I thought I saw something watching me through the window as I was getting up, and then looked towards the window and realized there was nothing there.
So you would say that your mindset is pretty unaverage.
Not always. It's very rare for that to happen or for me to see things anymore as long as I keep my
So
habit consistent.
whenever you were spinning, would you say, and you saw the sun going past 3 cycles, would you say that you were spinning through time faster?
That's what it felt like. It felt like the days passed. I passed 3 days in an instant. I saw the sun and moon pass the sky 3 times within that short period of time, right on my windows.
So are you convinced that you went through 3 days?
It could be just me, or it could that I actually went through 3 days somehow instantly. But it doesn't matter either way. It could have been one or the other.
So for you going through those 3 days, do you think your mom or dad would have been worried?
Uh, well, based on the fact that they probably weren't too worried, I would safely assume it was probably just me. But if those 3 days did pass in an instant, then that would be a lot more confusing to understand at first because those 3 days could have passed instantly to the point in where the people all present on Earth wouldn't have noticed it at all because time passed only quickly for me and slow for them. Or it could have just been an omnipresence in which only I experienced it and nobody else would have remembered it ever happened.
So you would say it's almost like that's what you mean by eco death.
Yes, that could be something related to it, I guess, in a sense, but not exactly. So I would go with assuming it was probably just me, but if it actually did happen, then I guess you could associate that with ego death in a sense, time getting screwed up one way or another.
So after experiencing this, like, were, what was your mindset like whenever all that happened? Like, what were you thinking?
The first thing I did was got up. I grabbed my baby drink because I was a kid back then still. I went out my door, walked over to the grand chair upstairs, and I sat in there. And I just sat there feeling absolutely miserable, shocked. I started calling for my mother, and she told me it was fine, nothing happened. But I was really questioning my life for a moment there at first because that was the first time something I actually saw something so bizarre.
Honestly, yeah, like that probably was like that probably could have been like a lot on your shoulders at the time.
At that point, yeah, I wasn't used to anything at all yet, so it was completely unexpected.
So are you
I went,
taking are you taking any medication to help with like the stuff that you see?
nope, I don't need medications, not anymore. All I needed was a couple different methods and different things or different habits I would usually keep consistent. So, such as sound when I'm sleeping, as I said. So, if I forget to turn on the radio on certain nights, or it's quiet enough in the house, or I don't keep enough sound consistent, then basically that's when things get bad. But usually I don't lose track of that, so I should be fine most of the time.
So have you ever seen any of these visions at school?
No, school is always crowded with a bunch of people all the time, anyways, and there's always somebody talking somewhere, or somebody doing something, somebody asking me something. So usually my paranoia count doesn't increase, so therefore I can't actually probably see any visions or anything that much anymore.
Can you do this on demand?
On demand, I could probably, if I wanted to, but it would probably only make things worse
Yeah.
for me and for everybody else nearby, I believe. Because if I did drive myself mad enough again, then I would actually probably end up being stuck in my head for another 3 years while somebody else takes my place and does everything for me the way they want. And that's not what I want to happen again.
So, all right, so we're gonna, that was actually a very interesting talk. We're gonna keep moving with more questions. So, why did you cut your hair though?
Why did I cut my hair? Well, I decided to, of course, at first feel like, see what it feels like when I wore it long for a long time. See what long hair was like, what girls are experiencing with long hair, because I never had long hair, of course, before. And I just decided to try out for the purpose of seeing what it was like. And I was going to at first do a straight style, just usually casual straight style, straight hair. But I realized my hair is wavy at that point. That's when I first discovered my hair is so wavy when I grew it out a bunch. So, of course, straightening it out was actually something I wouldn't have come naturally to me. It would just be naturally wavy instead. So that's when I realized my hair has a lot of volume to it naturally. So basically, keeping it down is actually harder to do than it is just basically slicking it up.
Hmm.
So if I were to, for example, do like a slick comb back style and then gel it back or spray it back, it wouldn't last for very long. My hair would basically break the gel and stand back up.
All right. All right. So, a really good question that someone had. What would your car look like? I mean, like with your style, would your car match your style, or would it just be like a normal, everyday kind of person car?
Well, right now, I think it would just be a normal car, and it is a normal car. But in the future, knowing how expensive stuff is to customize cars, I would worry about it some other time. Right now, I just worry about probably preparing myself first instead of my car for things. After that, later on, I would probably legally modify my car with a bunch of nice stuff if I have enough money for it, and then I'd probably basically spice it up maybe just a bit.
So, what kind of car would you shoot for in the future? Would you go for like a more drift style car, more speed runner?
I would only go with a car that's best at transportation from one place to another for any kind of situation or any kind of terrain.
So, kind of like a Jeep.
Basically, a car that can get me from point A to point B, regardless of where I am. That could range from something as simple as a grassland to some warfield in the middle of nowhere.
All right. So, at school, you said something about bringing justice. What did you mean by that?
Bringing justice. When did I say that?
It was fourth hour, third hour. Yes, third hour. You said something about justice.
If there's something I said about justice, I'm not sure exactly what it might have been if I did. I was also talking my math, so it's still kind of hard to hear everybody. So
All right.
maybe I didn't.
Well, do you have any input on what your justice would look like?
My justice. You mean judgment?
Yeah, judgment, justice. Yeah.
Ah, yes, right. That's why I said judgment. Well, usually judgment isn't my problem, but if I end up in a very close relationship with a friend or anybody else, there comes judgment.
And by judgment with that, how do you mean?
It could range from something as simple as setting standards to perfectly live life to as something as complicated as seeing how long somebody can survive another person.
So you would say if you had another companion, you'd make it a challenge to see if you could live longer than the other one could.
Basically, train each other ahead of time to live longer than another.
So it'd kind of be not like a sexual grooming way, but it'd be like grooming in like a more strategic way of,
Yes, pure strategy and
yeah.
skill.
So you'd want someone who also has the same mindset as you, not someone who's like,
I tried to find somebody who would think alike only because sometimes if somebody lived in my life all the time, they wouldn't be used to it and they would not be able to handle it. And that's why I wouldn't bother
so would
dealing with that.
so would you say that you're a lot to handle?
Sometimes I could be, and other times I'm not. I usually try my best to be a gentleman, though. But knowing I can't remember my emotions as well as I used to, sometimes I slip up.
So in that, would you mean like, would you be afraid of, going, with the problems that you used to have? Would you be afraid of that occurring in your relationship at any point in time?
If I had my emotions back, that probably would be a problem. But since I cut them off, they haven't been a problem since. And that's why I would safely assume it wouldn't be a problem again unless I got too emotional, which I tried to stay composed since then. I had a friend of mine that has been with me for quite a couple years now, and they were the first that helped me basically contain my emotion to begin with. And they've been my mentor for years now by simply controlling myself. So it all started when I was just simply wanting to play games with people in groups that don't allow toxicity, people that get angry easily or something all the time, say something annoying, something aggravating, when again an argument and waste time. I usually try to just find quicker methods to deal with that now, and that's why I started off with to dealing with my emotion. Getting angry over something as simple as a game is not as much of a problem as it was before.
So you see emotions as useless factors in life.
I see them as a disadvantage based on what I've experienced firsthand,
So,
especially because of my conditions as well. That
so,
wouldn't be the same for everybody because not everybody has my condition.
so say hypothetically, in a zombie apocalypse, you're with, you have a companion. Do you
Right.
have, all right, all right, so let's set this. Do you have the emotion of love? Can you love another person?
If the relationship was strong enough, yes, I probably could love and respect another person.
All right, so say you love this person and then you lose them. Would you keep moving on
Just a
or
moment.
would you mourn? Your mic's on mute.
Sorry, got a call.
Would you
All right.
would you mourn this death or would you keep moving on?
I, in the case I am now, I would probably keep on. But that would still only drive me to try harder than I was before.
Okay. So, what is your reason exactly for cutting out emotion?
Well, basically, I think it kind of played a role in how I lost my mind in the first place. Because when I had emotions, basically each alternate personality I had was based on a different emotion at certain times. Others were just their own things in themselves. And others had different levels of knowledge that I didn't even expect in the first place. It's like transcendent knowledge. So that seemed quite odd,
So,
honestly.
say your mentor. Did your mentor suffer the same problems with dissociation of personalities?
As far as I've checked, he hasn't himself, but he's been very calm and easygoing more than less. And he was basically very versed in that to begin with, and that's what he decided to help me with because I wanted to join certain groups that didn't allow toxicity, and I was very toxic or got angry pretty easily a while ago to certain things some people said because I usually had that instinct to basically settle an argument with me winning on the end.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like losing emotions could be good and bad thing for like what you said.
Everything has its ups and downs,
What
but
do
I
you
usually try to find what works better.
so what do you see as a negative to not having any emotion?
Well, something negative to not having any emotion would be the fact that I can't experience the same things people do anymore when they say joke. So when I laugh, it's usually a fake laugh or basically to congratulate them in their effort to making something very funny. Other times, if I'm sad or angry or I'm in a very difficult situation, I can only use the knowledge I know to basically deal with it reasonably instead of just walking away and giving up on whatever the problem may be because I don't care.
So, has this ever since you've controlled your emotions, has this ever slipped up for you?
Honestly, it's been quite some time since it has. And the last time it might have, it was simply me selling some other people's problems for the case of basically because I need them to keep moving on because they made a big mistake, unfortunately. And I ended up having to bring everybody the judge of it. And that was one of my forms of judgment. I
So,
had basically equally distribute punishment to each person.
so was it in like like did you put hands on someone else as a judgment?
No,
Oh, all right.
I
So,
handled everything myself, and anybody's complaints were simply words that went past my ears.
so since you said love is something that is hard for you to feel, basically, if your mom passed, would you mourn that?
I simply accept anybody I know very close to me who dies. I don't mourn about it and let it hold me back. I have to reject the past and move on to the future.
Is there like, does your mom not see you not having any emotions weird at all?
Um, she says she thinks it's very sad and depressing, but I tell her there's nothing sad and depressing about it because there's no emotions in the first place.
I guess, yeah, that's kind of a more, kind of like a slap in her face kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, if it's her problem, it's her problem. If she wants to have a problem with it, she can. If she wants to not worry about it, then she can choose not to. But I don't worry about it.
So, what is the exact point of straining yourself asleep? Like, what kind of advantage does that give you over everyone else?
Right. You asked a while ago about my sleeping habits. Well, as I know, I'm a very busy man, I tell most people, because I always have one thing after another to do at some point in time. It could be an objective on a game, friend there. It could be schoolwork. It could be planning for Japan. It could be gathering friends to make a new song, and what else, whatnot. It
So,
could be
you put playing video games. I mean, I see your point. There is times where I'd rather stay up and play video games and sleep, but you
they.
don't see school, so you see the game more as important than, you know, energy for school.
Well, I do have enough energy for school because any work I have left I end up doing at home. There are certain times I'm awake in school and I do my work there. If I can't stay up at all, then I just end up falling asleep there. But once I get home, if I have enough energy after that, I get myself some coffee and just catch up on what I missed if I can, as much as I can. But basically, my sleeping is so sporadic, and every time at this rate that I try to get good sleep, there are certain days in which I feel okay or fine enough for the next day, and then there are certain days that even though I slept, I nothing changed. I'm still equally as tired as I was before, and that's why I gave up on sleeping as much as I did before. Now, people know this may be unhealthy, but I know because of this, even if I did get good sleep, for each day that I sleep well and wake up the next day feeling like I didn't sleep at all, I don't want to keep putting up with that, of course, because that's only going to make things doubly worse as they were than the first time. So basically, for example, I chose to sleep that night and skip the work I had to do for the sake of getting good rest because I'm out of time or have no more time left based on my usual day or time schedule and the amount of things I have to do in the first place. For
So,
whatever, it could be schoolwork, it could be games, it could be anything. I have to sacrifice that for sleep. But if I end up waking up well, then I can continue and do that. If I end up waking up feeling miserable and tired still, then I'm going to end up sleeping more. And that's going to basically impede my progress more than it did in the first place. So that's why I don't take my chance at that anymore. That's why I just keep going and getting as much done as possible until I'm out of energy.
so whenever you're sleeping at school, is that whenever the glasses come in and serve its purpose? And then it's like,
Well, I mean, I did it either way. I really don't care. But I mean, when I wear my glasses, people can't tell I'm sleeping anymore as much. And I'm trying to stay awake, but at that same time, I feel colder than normal when I'm tired at that same time. And so I just want to like curl up at my desk and just rest until I gotten enough minutes of sleep to maybe go on a bit longer and do some more work.
all right, well, it is time for the last question.
All
But
right.
what is your career path?
My career path for like my jobs.
Yeah, for like, what do you want to be in the future?
Well, what I have planned as the moment right now, I'm probably going to start off simple, honestly, for the first couple of years. For at least as little as 2 years to as much as maybe 5 years. I was going to basically work at Olive Garden. I was thinking to start off with. My brother decided to join me there. So if he ends up working there as well, we're going to as a team at that place.
And so for your long-term career,
And for my long-term career, which would be like my main job, is what I plan to get started on or prepare for and get basically maybe even on the job training by chance here while I'm still at Misery, or basically move somewhere else to another nearby place within the US to basically get all the knowledge I need for scripting. And that's what I'm going to be doing for when I make games or basically code and fix things.
so you're gonna code. So do you know about Oracle VP or not Oracle VPN, but Oracle Box?
Oracle Box. Um, hmm, not
Uh,
exactly.
well, basically it's between there's two types of hackers. There's one that's called in the closet where you go on to main type of like you just look up something like IP pooler, something that you could do quick. And it
Right.
serves its purpose as grabbing stuff, but not a full purpose of DOSing, sending zombie attacks, such as that.
Yeah.
But whereas VirtualBox, it's kind of more in depth where you actually have to know the codes, which is what I use for
Well,
say.
for understanding programming languages is something what I'm going to plan to do and know automatically.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean that's one of the things that you need to know for Oracle, but it's basically something as putting in a few commands and getting a proxy set up so then
Well,
you can't have any other. Well, I mean, if anyone truly wanted to, they could pull your IP. It's not,
right.
but you have to run through more attacks, takes a longer term, but the more proxies you have set up, the
Yeah.
more. But anyone can have a proxy, which is a VPN. But if you go through Oracle, it's like a stronger proxy. But as
Well, it also
where,
depends on what kind of programming language it would be. It could be something as simple as Lua to Python or Java or what else, whatnot.
yeah, I
Because there are
mean,
many different kinds for many different purposes.
yeah, what a lot of people fail to realize is whenever you type in is whenever they see one of these, that's not secure. But then whenever you see one of these, that is secure. So it's kind of like knowing your links and what to press to keep yourself safe.
Right, unlocked or locked.
Hmm.
That's one way of doing things. But when it comes to my computer and downloading files and what else, whatnot, there are of course certain games that I have had this kind of problem with before. When I have anti-malware tools, I only use them to check the file to see if something may potentially have a virus in the first place. I basically take the file and see if I can access it in the first place, the source code of the file. But since I can't usually always do that because some games don't actually allow you to access the inner contents of them, I usually take them to multiple sources and basically scan them in and out with that to check if something, for example, had a virus, and then decide if I'm going to keep it or not.
Well, yeah. Well, what basically Kali is it's like a mini. It thinks it's a computer. You give it a dedicated amount of RAM, storage, and part of your CPU space.
Right.
And it's basic hacking software, but it's kind of like I'd say it's more of like it's not Tor browser, but it can be used as Tor browser, but for grabbing anything you want.
Right.
All right, but my man, I think that is all for today.
I see. All right then.
All right, well, you have a good one.
You too. Thanks.
All right, well, as that was said, some of the answers that I got, were kind of creepy, kind of airy, and other words disturbing. But I mean, what to take out from it is that most people may seem weird, but also most people have problems that we don't know about, such as Ezra Furhan. Like everyone sees him as kind of like, an odd one, but like he said, he has what's it called? The different personalities, and as it seems, his mindset is kind of different from what a normal mindset is. And I think that this podcast really does give him a better description of people not to judge one person, and I think it's something that we should all take away from it. But I'm gonna be posting this on my YouTube pretty shortly, and I'm posting on my story if anyone else wants to go watch that. But I think that's pretty much it for the stream today. So hope you all have a good one, and let me know if you enjoyed. Peace.